Okay, we're live.
Got it. Standing by.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. It's Planning Commission for Tuesday, September 2nd. We usually meet on Mondays, but we're here on Tuesday. It's the holiday weekend. Item 1 on our agenda, approving our minutes from the last time we gathered on Monday, August 18th. Tina's got the motion. Bart's got the second on the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those no, that carries. We have two public hearings this evening. There's one member of the audience, but in case anybody had tuned in, expecting to see a discussion on Ivy Hills, there was a letter that had gone out to the neighborhood that there was going to be a hearing on that tonight. That has been continued to October 20. So it's not being discussed here. There's no motion, there's no discussion, there's no activity at all. That has been postponed to October 20. There will be another notification going out to the property owners within the proper amount of feet from the property as dictated by state law. So you'll see that, but again, October 20th. So if you're here for Ivy Hills, you can move on. That's it. Two public hearings this evening. First one up, preliminary and final plat on V&B Vinar subdivision. And I have Leslie.
Is for your consideration this evening, the resolution to approve the preliminary final plat for V&B Vinar subdivision. The applicant is Vince Vinar of
Hold
Do you have
on.
a PowerPoint, or should we?
Did it get it on?
It's not up.
It's working. It's just such a delay.
Yeah, we've got the logo.
Are you connected? Is it connected? This content.
Well, let's just move on.
Wait, because we don't have the information in front of us.
I'm not quite sure. Let's try this.
There we go.
okay. Just in time. So the location map, maybe you're familiar with this. Previously probably looked to zoning map. So before you, the request is to subdivide to create two platted parcels to facilitate redevelopment of the underdeveloped portion of the property. The site is accessed through a single driveway that will be also have dedicated cross access easement to serve still the Grand State and the undeveloped portion of the lot. A portion of that area of land is going to be vacated or otherwise adjusted. There was the road to go further north into the property as it developed to the north, create that access. That property developed in a different way, and the northern route is no longer needed. So this final plat shows it a little bit more succinct. It'll stop short of that northern property line, but still serve both the zoning properties. Has been proposed, which will be recorded to help that facilitate that access.
Do we have questions for Leslie? Art?
I remember probably about a year or so ago, we had this up street that would go through. Don't recall what the city council decided, but well, it depends on what the city council did
So that will, title commitment, as part of this recording, they will have to make the necessary adjustments to this proposal. Typical fashion, what you specific use that they could provide for us on that undeveloped lot, they wish it to be a little bit more open to everyone, and they feel that there is adequate access to utilities, wetland delineation has been provided, so all of the necessary homework is in place. Should anything additional be required?
Other questions? I'll open up public hearing. Again, there's one member of the public here tonight. Both public hearings are going to follow the same basic format. We have a presentation from our staff. We ask any clarifying questions that we may have. When we're done with the questions, we open up public hearing. It's part of the process. We're the ones that officially host the public hearing through the process. People come up, name, address, company they represent, etc. When public hearing's done, that gets shut down. Then we come back up here for discussion. Eventually, somebody makes do something, we talk about that motion for a while, we eventually vote on that motion, then we're a recommending body that goes to the city council. Everything on the agenda tonight, exact same format. That said, I'm asking for public hearing, and I've already gotten the head shake of no, so public hearing is open, public hearing is closed. We're back up here now to the planning
Chairman?
commission.
I'm going to move for approval. This is really a no-brainer. I mean, they're just splitting the property. There's adequate access, and then they can develop it. I mean, on that site, what used to be there was a electrical wholesale house. It was Minnesota Electric. That used to be, if you look at the previous slides, that there's a marking that was the parking lot to the place. The building is gone, but I think the parking lot is still there. Yeah, the parking lot is still there. So yeah, I'm totally in favor of developing it.
I've got a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Bart's got the second. Discussion on the motion. I just have a follow-up. I just want to be sure I'm clear on it. Never been a fan of shared driveway easements. But this hotel's 20-some years old. That discussion was held that time. Is the driveway, as we're seeing in the preliminary plan, is that road essentially then just going right down the property line and so there's zero setbacks, and so the planning department is okay with just how this road is come together?
I too had similar concerns. The urban planning standards, more likely than the hard English that's in this turning radius. But the function of the access easement does follow very strictly what's already been functioning for 20 years or so, correct? So when they propose a use, at that time at site development phase, we will be looking at traffic, motions, and circulation. And if there's any adjustments that are needed in the routing, that's the time where they can amend it. It serves its purpose right now, but always
Got it. Thank you. Steve, you had something?
Yeah, if you could, there's a slide that showed the parking lot. It isn't this slide. I think it was one previous. Yep, right there. Now you can see it.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's coming onto a state highway, I know there's limited access that the state says you can't do it. So they're going to have to modify it a little bit when they do develop it. And that would be when we do the final plat. And so I'm very comfortable with this.
Well, final plat is tonight, too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Dana's hand up next.
Yep.
It's just the same thing. I know for a fact that on a high traffic intersection access, they like to limit it, whether it's state, county, or city. There's just too much traffic to add. I do appreciate that they've stopped the road from the property line because I think that discourages pass-through traffic. I appreciate the fact that they did stop.
Got a motion, we've got a second. Any other discussion from anybody? Vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Next up tonight, the zoning text amendment. We touched on it last week. We discussed it. The non-conformities in residential districts. And by the looks of the setup, it's going to be Harry this time.
Thank you, Chair. We're set up, just want to make sure. Yes, so the request in front of you is by staff to make changes to our non-conforming chapter. That'd be chapter 3. And this would be regarding non-conforming lots. It's actually a little interesting. This particular chapter did at one point have some non-conforming lot language. It was taken out in a larger bit in order to kind of fit with some of the more recent changes at the state level regarding non-conforming lots and just non-conformities in general. But what we are finding now is that how we structured some of the changes back then have not helped us allow for redevelopment of some of these properties. So, looking at some areas across town, here are some lots where, under our current code, they wouldn't be allowed. We, for one reason or another, have a series of requirements within our zoning districts that say, hey, you need to have X amount of square feet to your property and X amount of lot width. So in a lot of these cases, for pretty much all these lots in front of you, they either wouldn't be able to be developed or they wouldn't be able to be redeveloped. So the changes that we're proposing are to allow some of these non-conforming lots to be developed going into the future. So as long as that structure conforms to setbacks, height, and lot coverage, then the project would be able to go forward for, the lot doesn't meet lot width or it doesn't meet square footage. It would still be able to move forward. If the lot has frontage onto a public street, whether it's paved or unpaved, which we were able to clarify with the city engineer and Public Works, that, hey, if it's on a public street, it's on a public street. We're not going to require that they construct a whole new street out of it. Then making sure that lot has access to water. And then the very last one is that have at least 50% of the required lot width and area. I currently have in here down to a minimum of 40 feet wide and 4,000 square feet. So you wouldn't be able to develop a property that's smaller than that. And that's to just ensure that there are lots within a neighborhood that are not too out of the normal for lots that you would find elsewhere in that neighborhood. So, we do have some lots that get down to, say, 30-foot wide. Would it be better for those lots to be pulled in as a part of a lot next to it? I think that's something for the Plan Commission to consider. This is what I currently have in there just to make sure that we're allowing lots that are still pretty comparable to the rest of the neighborhood. And then the last bit of this is that corner lots use a side setback of not smaller than 10 feet. That's only for lots that are taking advantage of this particular. Again, all of this is just for existing platted lots. None of this is talking about properties that are replatted in the future, not taking into account development that happens way on the periphery. Just existing legally platted lots. So first example would be a lot that's R2, code requires 66 foot and 8,500 square feet for a single family home. 50% would be 33 feet or under the minimum 40 foot and 4,250 square feet. So this property that's to the right on 13th Street Northwest, that property would be able to be redeveloped or it would be developable under this.
Could you Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
I got a little confused. If you go back, you keep talking about minimum of 40 feet, but here you have a 33-foot lot width, right?
Yep.
Okay, so one of the questions I had is you talked about, oh, that should be consolidated with an adjacent lot. What if there's not the ability to consolidate it?
Yeah, no, that's.
I mean,
it's-
if it's already developed on both sides, there's nothing to consolidate with. So would that be a variance request?
It would be. Yeah.
Okay, that's
So that,
just,
yeah, that would have to move forward as a variance. And
Okay.
that's why, I think as a part of this discussion today, hey, if we look at the 40-foot wide and 4,000 square feet, what if we just, encompassed a lot more than that? Sure, we can have a larger discussion on it. Just kind of looking at how it's currently written within code, this is what it would be. So 40-foot minimum, 4,250 square foot. Bart, yeah, Bart, I see that your hand is up. Just let me.
Let him finish, and then we'll come back up here for questions, and we'll start with Bart.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to this, but the other example I do have is C1. So code requires 100 foot of width for a C1 property and 10,000 square feet. 50% would be 50-foot width and 5,000 square feet. So this property that's along Willow, kind of more on the, as you get farther out towards the edge of town, getting the nursery. But so this property is currently being used as a house. If it were to be redeveloped into a business, this would allow this property to be utilized, which would fit its underlying zoning uses. So generally this changes to allow property owners to invest in their property, to redevelop their properties. It balances some property rights with some community interests, making sure that we have a good amount of housing stock, that we have properties that are able to be redeveloped without going through additional entitlements. From a general planning and zoning standpoint, it does meet our criteria for a zoning text amendment. So we are recommending that you forward approval of this ordinance to council. That I'm happy to take questions.
The presentation from staff.
Thank you. Only reason I was bringing this up was with Tina's question. So if we had someone, we had this come back about a year ago, where Eric Warner had 2 lots, 2 small lots, and made twin homes out of it. Would this fit into that designation as well, since they would be adjoining lots and adjoining homes? Or would this cause? It was a great idea, and so that's why I was just curious.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So, again, this is only dealing with an existing lot. So Eric Warner took 2 lots and he replatted them into twin home lots to allow, sort of one home on one lot, even though it's a duplex, just be one home, one lot, even if they're attached. So because he replatted them, he's lost that non-conforming status. So this code section would not apply to that development.
Other questions? Steve?
Just a comment. I think your numbers that you come up with for me, I think are great. And the fact that you're going to go any smaller or any other dimension other than that you'd have to have a variance so you'd be able to review it, I think is perfect. So I can support this really easy.
I have one question before we go to public hearing. I just want to be sure. So on page 29 of the packet, section 3.60, that's all that's changing, right? I mean, that's the language.
Yes.
That's what you went through in the PowerPoint, but it's, 1A, B, C, pretty easy read. It's not a huge heavy lift. I just wanted to verify that I was reading the packet right. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Public hearing, same thing, same speech. I get the same head nod, no. So we have open public hearing, we have closed public hearing. It is immensely easier when there's one person. That said, we're done with public hearing. Back here to the Planning Commission. Discussion. Bart, excuse me.
Oh, I'm just making a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
I'll second that.
Got the second. Bart had the motion. Discussion on the motion. Vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. Done with that. That goes to city council. It'll be next Tuesday, a week from tonight.
Yep. Next
Copy. That's it for public hearings. Now, just to wrap up the routine issues, request to be heard. Is there anything?
No, Mr. Chair.
Items for discussion. You got anything for us?
No, again, Mr. Chair.
I'm assuming there's no routine business. Board. Oh, Tina, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. I'm sure this happened before I joined the commission. I saw in the paper where the city of Faribault wrote a letter to the county regarding solar ordinances. And it talked in the newspaper article about going before the planning commission. So if you could just give me a really brief recap so that I know what our position was.
Sure. Well,
Just, I mean, I didn't get what the newspaper article was kind of, stir the pot. I just want to know.
yeah, and Mr. Chair,
recap.
this is going to be part of my boards and commissions update anyway, so
Okay.
it's fine.
So
that-
let's just say we're going to segue into
Okay.
board and commission update.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can hit that first. So I actually drafted most of that letter. I've been probably the one in most communication with Rice County. When they said planning commission, they actually meant Rice County's planning commission,
Okay. All right.
not our planning commission. Otherwise, you guys would already be very familiar with this, I promise. Basically, what has happened is that there's an area, and I can pull it up if we want to take a look at it. But it's an area out in the county. The only two areas where what they call urban reserve industrial, this new zoning district that Rice County has adopted in their as a part of their most recent comprehensive planning update. The only two locations are essentially where we've identified industrial areas, industrial expansion. So one is in that Highway 60 area that we had that small area plan not too long ago. And the other one is on the north side in between one part of the Northern Industrial Park and our little enclave that's kind of out in the county, sort of where Metcon and Daikin are. So urban reserve industrial, based off of what the county has put together, has said, look, this is areas where a nearby urban area, in this case Faribault, there's nowhere else in the county that URI or urban reserve industrial exists, has indicated that this area is for industrial expansion. So in a way, this is kind of a hold where the current owners can continue farming, using the property as they otherwise would, but in the sort of eventuality that, hey, we wouldn't be able to do anything new here. It really regulates or sort of restricts the amount of uses that are allowed within URI. There are areas currently that have solar right now, but that was under some previous code when it was just urban reserve. Urban reserve industrial does not allow solar farms at all. What an applicant on behalf of some property owners that are zoned urban reserve industrial has done is that they've requested, hey, we would really like to have a solar farm on our property. What if we change the code to allow this as an interim use? So they've gone through part of that process already. They've already gone to one planning commission at Rice County. We were able to just kind of under the wire, just give them an initial letter from the city regarding this. And then at our most recent city council meeting, we were actually able to get city council's blessing on a letter and then signed by the mayor. Basically, that letter says, look, urban reserve industrial, as you guys have put it, both in your zoning code and in your comprehensive plan, this is protecting this area for potential city annexation and industrial development. It's not a good idea to have solar farms. At that point, we're talking about leapfrogging development and potentially extending utilities a significant way in order to accommodate potential, high water or high sewage users. And then on top of that, solar farms do break up the amount of developable area. They like to be in flat areas. They can be on topographically difficult areas, but obviously that has some additional costs to it. So flatland user for solar farm and a flatland user like an industrial use just don't mix. And so we made that very clear in our letter to the planning commission that, hey, this just will not work for us. We don't have any regulations that even allow this within the city. So even if we did annex it, we wouldn't know what to do with it. I think at the end of the day, they have jurisdiction over their areas. If they decide that this is a good idea, that's fine. We'll work with it, and we acknowledge that in that letter. We did, state some pretty strong concerns about it. Any questions?
Well, I think you're spot on. To put a solar farm in that industrial area makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like what you stated, given the cost of extending the utilities and streets to the industrial development, it just makes no sense. I'm fully in favor of solar farms, but they have their place, and that place is not there.
Yeah. And we also counted on, hey, the investment that a solar farm would have to make to bring all of that electricity out there, like all that infrastructure, utility investment all the way out there, even if it is an interim use, it doesn't keep them from, in 20, 30, 40 years, just swapping out the panels for a whole new panel, and again, tying up that land for another. So that's kind of the gist of it. I think if there's anything else that came out of the city council meeting, we were able to go through kind of the end of the rebound project, the Rice County project for Henry M. Rice Square. So that's complete. The potential future developers are bringing through a conditional use permit and variance that will be brought to you guys at a future meeting, next meeting, 15th. And then Hoffmeister made its way through, so now we're just kind of dealing with some small things. The accessory structure ordinance didn't make it through, so now you can have the biggest accessory structures that you could ever imagine on your property. Everyone's very excited for that. And then I'm trying to think of the last one that went through. But that's kind of in a general sense, most things passed. So what you guys are familiar with, what you've seen is oh yeah, Jesse. Yeah, because that was just a preliminary plat.
Okay, that's it for the final thing. Are we ready for a motion to?
A motion to adjourn.
Art's got the motion. Second. Tina's got the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're done.
You.